Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Derrick Lightfoot. For the third year in a row, Fort St. John residents could be seeing a tax decrease. As CJDC's Carissa Wilson reports, in the latest City Council meeting, the 2016 draft operating budget was presented and taxes were hot but an issue. Canada White would take on Russia in the final, the good old Canadian boys hoping to give the hometown crowd a medal to celebrate. Now in the quarters, Canada White scored timely power play goals to come back versus Finland. They did the same in the semis against Sweden. Before we get started, here's a little rewind. After their first game of the tournament, head coach Scott Walker talked about the role special teams could play in this tourney. Canada's plastic money is perplexing counterfeiters. In the last year alone, the RCMP's National Anti-Counterfeiting Bureau estimates the number of counterfeit banknotes passed to retailers plummeted by 75%. That's great news for shopkeepers and businesses who are left out of pocket when they find fake bills in their tills. And as CBC's Alison Crawford learned on an exclusive tour of the RCMP's counterfeit lab, even the best attempts to make fake cash are pretty bad. The Dawson Creek Junior Canucks season ended prematurely this past weekend with a loss to the County of Grand Prairie JEDA Kings as the Junior Seas got swept in the first round. Now, despite the early playoff exit, their year is being looked at as a relative success. Every one of their playoff games was close, and after how the year started, the run definitely exceeded expectations. One of the big talking points of the last RFQ was the fact that 3 unsuccessful bidders would receive $200,000 for their efforts. Now, while it won't be decided until a later date if it's the same for this RFQ, it's not currently in BC Hydro's plans. It's not every day not one but 2 Olympians come to a city like Fort St. John. Now, if you haven't been able to get to a previous event, that's okay. But tonight is the final one where you can witness the adventures of Denny and Junio. While it may not be the hottest day of the year, it's 26 degrees out right now, and this is truly a great way to beat the heat. Now, if I wasn't 22 years old and technically at work right now, I would cannonball straight into Rotary Lake. There were over 35 babies here at the welcome party today, and while the focus was on meeting new people and having fun, it's also the kickoff to Family Literacy Week.
Derrick, you with us there, buddy?
Sorry, Hockeyville voting closes in like 2 hours. They're sort of trying to squeeze in a few more last-minute votes there.
You know what? I can't blame you for that. I better cast some last-minute ballots too. Why don't you do your job? Tell the viewer about some sports stuff.
Well, Hockeyville voting isn't the only window that's closing soon. The NHL regular season is coming to an end. Oh, Natalie, this is the Calgary Flames Sven Baertschi jersey I purchased basically 2 years ago. I've worn it 3 times, and now it's useless, Natalie. Baertschi was traded to the Vancouver Canucks earlier today for a second-round pick. Decent return, but I kind of got the paperweight. I'm not sure what to do with it. Just like Randy Orton and his famous RKO, winter out of nowhere. Snow just came last night, and it just kept coming, you know, after like the month or so of warm weather we've seen. I was surprised, and we're going to see a little bit more winter in the next couple of days before we sort of get back to spring at the end of the week. But we're going to start tonight with the Farmer's Almanac. Sunrise at 8:20 a.m., sunset 6:10 p.m. Average temperature for this time of year is a high of -5 and a low of -14. Next full moon coming up on February 22nd. Ref points to the spot. The Argentinian steps up and smashes this in. It's Barcelona with a pair of crucial away goals. Takes down Arsenal 2-0. This guy is not too happy. To Italy now, Juventus hosting Bayern Munich. A dominant first half from the Germans as Thomas Muller unmarked slots this past Gianluigi Buffon just before the break. Then after halftime, Ariane lay cut inside man Robben, known for cutting in from the right and shooting with his left for this exact reason. In the back of the net, visitors' big 2-0 lead. Juve wakes up in the 63rd, though. Former Bayern man Mario Mandzukic finds Paulo Dybala in behind everyone, slots it bottom corner. Then, with 15 to play, Alvaro Morata finds Stefano Sturaro in the box, gets a piece of it in off the woodwork. The Bianconeri, with the fight back, salvage a 2-2 draw on home soil.